Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, this is Lithium017 from my channel Nintendo Collecting 101, bringing you collecting tip number 62. This one is called Protect Yourself. So before I get into protecting your collection, I need to talk about number one in everyone's life. And guess what? Guess what, everyone? That's you. That's you. You're number one in your own life. Once you have kids, this might not be the case, but really, you only have one life. You want to protect yourself. Make sure you don't get swindled or end up in awkward, bad situations. I've been in a few, so please heed these tips. Number one, I can say, especially when dealing with any email transactions, whether it's on Kijiji or Craigslist or anything online, don't use your private email. Create a separate email account just for collecting or buying items or selling items, so that you can use that, and you might not even want to use your real name. You might want to use your middle name or an alias, or just omit your last name. Just be careful, and I would definitely suggest using a separate account, so in case anything goes wrong, it's not your private account. Number two, when you're selling items, especially obviously in person, only accept cash. This should be pretty self-explanatory, but if you accept a check and it bounces, that's just bad news. I also suggest that you look up some really basic ways how to tell if a bill, meaning cash, is authentic. I don't accept $100 bills. I usually just get 20s when I sell items, or $5 bills or $10 bills, and I did look up how to tell if they're fake, just to know that I'm getting authentic bills. Number three, if Donkey Kong here, let's look at our little guy, Donkey Kong. He wants to go buy an item in person from someone. He's never met this person before, or perhaps he has met this person before. It doesn't really matter. It would be a whole lot safer if he brings along Diddy Kong, just like on his adventures in Donkey Kong. Come on now. Bring a friend along, or a significant other, or a parent when you go buy items. It's just a good thing to do. You never know. There's a lot of crazy people out there. So definitely bring a friend. The next thing that I can definitely suggest is meet at a neutral location. I usually meet people at Tim Hortons. I'm Canadian. Woo, Tim Hortons, very popular. I usually meet people just outside of Tim Hortons, or outside a mall or a shopping center. And the other rule that I made for myself is I only wait 15 minutes for people. After 15 minutes, I'm not waiting that much longer. You're wasting my time usually, unless they text me or they email me, but I don't like giving out my cell phone number to people. So I usually just deal with email. The next tip that I can suggest is, see that sunlight up there? Meet people in person when it's light out. When it's dark, more crazy people come out, it's true, but when it's light out, there's usually more public around, and it's just a safer situation. So those are my tips for buying things in person. When buying online, you should definitely keep track of all of your transactions, even when you're buying in person, actually. So I suggest keep all of your receipts. I keep an envelope. It's in my bedroom, but I keep an envelope of all of my receipts for any transaction I've ever made, just in case. Number one, this is great to look back at how much things actually cost you. And number two, you can just keep track of everything that you have ever bought. Number three, you can definitely just, in case something goes wrong, you can return the item, or you have some sort of a paper trail. I also suggest taking a print screen or a screenshot, screen capture. So capture your screen whenever you buy anything, even on eBay. So for example, here's one of the times I got screwed. There's a Skyward Sword Figma large figure. This is very small. This is not it. But there's a Figma figure that you can move and manipulate, and it was being pre-ordered last year in 2012, and I pre-ordered it, but I pre-ordered it on eBay. Number one, never pre-order on eBay. That was my bad. My bad, guys. That was a mistake. So I pre-ordered, and he said it would be shipped once the item was actually released, and it never was. It was released, but he might have shipped it, but I never got it. So after about 4 months of waiting, I was asking where my item was, but the item was then taken off eBay. The transaction was gone from eBay. So good thing I took a print screen of it to keep that information and to know the item number and the transaction ID number. So after messaging him back and forth for months and months, he eventually said it was shipped, but it was shipped to the wrong location. Sure as hell it was shipped to the wrong location, fine. But I never got it. I never left feedback, and it was just a really bad circumstance, and eventually I got my money back, but it took months and months, and I wouldn't have gotten any money back unless I kept my paper trail, and I just broke Link. I didn't actually break him, he just fell off his little stand there. I'll put him back after the video. So definitely keep a paper trail, and I would suggest taking a screenshot and keep them in a folder on your computer of everything you buy, off eBay, off Amazon, doesn't matter. Keep screenshots, keep your paper trail, you never know when things can go wrong, and name them properly. So name it like Skyward Sword Figma purchase, and maybe the date, because when it's a screenshot, it's usually just a number. Next, when you're buying an item, just say you're buying this awesome Dia Hawks Game Boy Color. It's from a seller in Japan. What happens if it doesn't work? What do you do then? You get it, you try turning it on, it doesn't turn on, it doesn't work. You want to make sure that you're protecting yourself, so you may only want to buy items that the seller is offering a return on in case they don't work or something goes wrong. Some sellers offer no return whatsoever. They say the item is tested. So sometimes I take a risk, sometimes I buy it from sellers that are not offering returns, but you make your own decision. The same thing goes for games, obviously. This Twilight Princess Zelda game might be scratched to all hell, the disc might be beat up, maybe it's unplayable, maybe the disc doesn't even read, but you just paid for the game. What are you going to do then? You need to make sure that you have some sort of a backup plan and know that you can do a return. Obviously, when you buy brand new games, keep the receipt. You can return them to the store. When you buy things off eBay or Amazon or something like that, you never know. The next thing that I can say for this Watermelon Red sealed N64 controller, or this NES action set, when they're coming across a border from another country, or even if they're within the same country, you may want to get insurance. Insurance can be very expensive, but on something such as this, that's so important to me, and it was the last one for me to get in my set of 7 sealed N64 controllers, I slapped insurance on it. For something like a console, you might want to put insurance on it just because you want to make sure you get it, that it's guaranteed, and you might want to make sure that it's actually requiring you to sign when the item comes. You never know. You just want to be as safe as possible and make sure you get your items. Yes, it costs more, but to make sure that you get the items, it's worth it sometimes. You also want to make sure you might want to protect your identity at all times, and that's why I don't really show my face in YouTube videos. I have shown it a few times by accident, a little bit in glare, but I'm trying to protect my identity. Why? Because I'm keeping in mind my whole life. Once you put something online, it's usually there forever. You can never take it down, and you never know when it might come back to haunt you or just be a bad time. So you want to make sure that you're looking out for number one. Think of yourself, protect your friends and family, and protect your collection will actually be the next collecting tip. So thank you very much for watching. This is collecting tip number 62. If you like my videos, feel free to hit the like button, feel free to subscribe, follow me on Twitter or on Facebook, and remember, as always, game on.